Well, this is it. It's time for the 5 best anime of 2018. I'll be honest, there were times where I wish I would extend the list to 10. Perhaps next time, I would change it up. But we have a long way to go before making a list for the current year. In the meantime, let's only go with 5. Make no mistake, these choices are based on my opinion. There are plenty of anime to check out. I still have dozens to watch back in the early 2000s and beyond. Whether you agree or disagree, it's all fun and game to look back and see what left me amazed. Here we go. This is the 5 best anime of 2018. Yes, a series taking place in New York City, where all sorts of problems such as gangs and drugs are present. That's New York, alright? But seriously, this one is pretty damn good. Ash Lynx was raised by the godfather of the mafia, Dino Golzin. At 17 years old, he grabs a hold of a mysterious drug known as banana fish. It's the name that his older brother has muttered constantly, but it's only because he was infected. Elsewhere, a boy named Eiji Okumura, a Japanese photographer, was reporting on American street gangs, and in the midst of it, Ash bumps into him during his investigation. Eiji, now involved with the gang, will embark a dangerous adventure with Ash, who wants to discover the truth behind Banana Fish. Is yet another manga classic anime adaptation aligned with Devilman Crybaby, Cutie Honey Universe, and so on. This is small alteration with its timeline due to the current technology such as buttonless phones and others. As far as I know, the story is largely the same as well as the characters. Perhaps a few skip scenes here and there, but largely the same, including that ending. With that said, I want to read them after done watching. The plot is rather interesting considering it takes place in the urban area, more so than a fantasy. Not to say that setting is bad, but it's a nice change of atmosphere. Even so, it still holds up strong with its journey with Ash, Eiji, and other characters that get involved at times. It feels more like a TV drama from USA Studio, with its portrayal of real-life problems, characters acting more human, albeit some comedic moments are anime-like, and the story doesn't hold back on placing them on serious danger. It could be uncomfortable to some viewers, as a rape is part of the danger that surfaces throughout the story. It is not done for shock value, rather an unfortunate real-life trouble. Ash himself is sadly the victim. Because of it, you can draw sympathy from his harsh childhood. As the plot doesn't hold back, you can expect many outcomes to be not as sunshine and rainbow, like everything will be fine and clean. It's thrilling to say the least. One of the strongest perks, or perhaps the strongest, is the characters, mainly the friendship between Ash and Eiji. They are nearly the opposite from each other. One is from the world of harsh environment and the other is from the livelihood. It doesn't mean one is vastly superior over another, as their journey brings to their senses of what's good and evil. They learn from each other and grow attached as brothers. It's really a heartwarming story. It doesn't matter if it's aiming to please yaoi fans or not. It's genuinely charming. Other characters are pretty good as well. For a series that centers on the real world with gangs, that's a good accomplishment. Some can be fun and likable to watch, and some can be depressing and disturbing. They grow and learn from their environment and soon collide with the ongoing plot behind Banana Fish, whether it's a gang war, a rescue operation, or a duel. The action can be engaging and sometimes pretty fun. It largely consists of a shootout, whether it happens in the subway or outside in the street. It can get intense when you establish that anyone can really lose their life out there, so the fear is real. As said before, it's like a crime TV drama. Still, the interaction within the cast are among the best aspects of the series. As far as presentation goes, it is pretty solid for the most part. This is based on an old manga that was released in 1985. I can only judge the covers and some of the panels, but to compare with the anime, it's tough to call it faithful or not. I would say it is for the most part. It's why the character design look the way they do. Rather than pulling off Devilman Crybaby, it sticks to the cycle and it turns out well, at least in my opinion. The soundtrack is pretty good and keeps you engaged with the atmosphere. I won't go into great detail, let alone detail, but what solidified my decision on the overall is the ending. Yes, the end justified the mean, but really, the ending did it for me. I won't go into detail, but I thought it was pretty impactful and meaningful. That's all I can say. Bottom line, this was one journey that I was glad to follow. The middle part does slow down, though understandable, but the overall is damn good. Now, I will pick up the manga and follow the classic journey once again. Ever wonder what is the equivalent to movie budget as a TV series? Like Game of Thrones, for example? Only for anime. Well, look no further than this series right here. The Great War has ended and the continent of Telesis began to flourish once again. Violet Evergarden, a young girl who fought in the war, was hospitalized, recounting the final moment with her beloved Major, who left her with words that she could not understand. After her release, she started new life, no longer fighting, and worked as an auto memory doll designed to transcribe people's feelings into words on paper, alas typewriting. This is her journey to explore life outside of battle, and one day learn about the true meaning of the words she holds dearest. It goes without saying, but this anime was really hyped from the previous year. It had a very early screening and many were blown away. It's due to the production value, but we will talk more on that later. As wonderful it looks, the question that I had in mind is whether the series is good as a total package. Is there any heart, love, and care that goes beyond than just flashiness? Fortunately, I can say yes. And I was moved all the way to the end. It's basically a slice of life with amazing effort on production. While that could turn some away as they want action or more of a plot rather than exploring different situations such as marriage or dealing with siblings' relationship, there are plenty of gems to be impressed. Each episode mostly consists its own story and problem to deal with. However, Violet does adventure many type of obstacles that draws her closer to understanding life and word meanings. In other words, payoffs are made while dealing outside of her main journey. What's fascinating to me is how deeply it explores the idea of putting feelings into words that would touch a person from afar. I like how it means a lot to choose your word carefully, even when one sounds good enough. There is a small gag of Violet putting into military context, but it acknowledges her stance and why she must be put into this journey. The more she develops, the more she begins to understand people's feelings and hardships. It's no longer fighting them because you have to. It's now understanding them because you want to. Each episode has their own scenario and it does connect with Violet in certain aspects. One is to understand the connection of a family, the other is to understand the inner feelings of a person who can't express it due to reasons. It allows her to see what humanity truly is in a complex way. I have to briefly mention the infamous episode that many can relate strongly. And it's definitely hard to watch. It is due to how well it can relate to our great fear, our tough struggle. But we must stay strong for the bright future. As that episode is among the best, others can connect. The characters are charming and delighting. They may not be around often, but they do help Violet and others when they are needed. The main center is Violet herself. She is the one we stay behind and hope that she can discover the missing piece that she long waited for. There is a moment in the beginning that does hinder her, but but is reasonable, knowing how the truth can harm a person. By the end, many characters come together with a rewarding feeling. Then we have the presentation. Yes, it is mind-blowing and is only a TV series. Kyoto Animation keeps blowing my expectation even in their comedy series. The movement is just crazy. Usually the anime would skip a couple of frames, but here it's almost seamless. The area looks beautiful. The character design captures the old timeline really well. Yes, they have the Kyoto's facial, but it works here. The most amazing part to me is how much it adds to the drama. Allow me to use video game analogy. The Last of Us has an amazing presentation. While there are other games that are technically better, it's the body language, expressions, and wonderful scenery that brings tons of life. That's this series. Haven't offered none of those. It would just be pretty and that's it. Instead, I feel alive and part of his world. I feel like I want to tell Violet that everything will be fine. It is fascinating. The soundtrack is also impressive. The emotional moments are very pronounced. There's a film coming in 2020. My eyes aren't ready to melt. Bottom line, this is a great gem to behold. The visual presentation may be the draw for anyone to check out, but there are plenty of solid materials to enjoy. It may not be for everyone due to exploration catering more of slice of life with stories that wouldn't suit to their taste, but it's worth a try. I wish to read a novel, but to my knowledge, it's not out in USA at this time. Whether the movie goes beyond the anime or not, what I have now is good enough. This series doesn't know when it wants to end, and it's all because of the gorilla. It doesn't matter much, because this series keeps on giving. It's the final arc of Gintama. Whether you are familiar with the series or not, it has been going on for a long time, and what way to end than a total war? Earth is in trouble, battling against a huge invasion of Amato across the galaxy. Usono brought the war upon the world, for he seeks death that he long wished to see. Yorozuya is back on Earth and back in business to serve a task that everyone has requested. Come back home to help one more time. If you aren't familiar with the series, it's time for you to binge watch. It premiered since 2006, and while it does take breaks, it's still one of the long-running series to date. Not to mention, it is set to conclude, unlike some series that remain just an advertisement. Regardless, this series has been outstanding for a long time. Take it from me, I watched it only a couple of years ago, and I am still amazed by its excellence. Here is no exception. One of the astonishing part of the final arc, as it proclaims, is how it not only sets up for the grand finale, but catered greatly for the fans who have been following for a long time. Usually other series tend to deviate from what made it special in the first place. Here, it shows great respect and love for the fans, as well as bringing out new stellar content. Whether it's the same level as the infamous arc, that is Shogun Assassination arc, or not, fans couldn't be any more pleased. When it comes to characters, it's everything that fans love about them. The personalities, the dynamics, the developments, and so much more are present here. Gintoki is still awesome and lovable in an ironic way. Same can be said for Kagura, Shinpachi, and many other characters. The comedy is hilarious as usual, with parody the absurd power scale of other shonen series, or famous series like Evangelion, and his own jokes, running gang, and new wacky ones. As the comedy remains strong, so does the action. Majority of the cast get involved in a laughable or reasonable manner. The action sequences are some of the best the series has provided, whether it's on the balcony, the factory, or the final stage style. There are plenty of hilarious and enticing payoffs that some fans wouldn't see it coming, but welcome it with laugh and tears. There are also emotional moments that fans already can expect, yet still hits them where they least expect it. It's the complete package of greatness. The presentation is also pretty good, though some episodes don't look as solid as others. Supposedly the Blu-ray releases cleaned up a lot, but as for TV broadcast, it's the only place to judge. Regardless, the animation gets crisp when it matters the most, notably the climax. The soundtrack remains solid, and the voice actors are always the greatest strengths in their delivery. Despite being called the final arc, it's not actually over. In fact, the last episode ends with a hilarious twist that put a blame all on the creator. What a sellout. All in all, the series may have been around for a very long period of time, but knowing the quality of its characters, humor, and more, it's no wonder it continues the journey to the very end. As said before, it's not officially over, but it's a very good time to catch up and prepare to witness the end game. A wonderful series like this, who wouldn't want to take this journey? It's a thrilling, hilarious, and at some points emotional ride. And when it ends, it's going to be tough to say goodbye. There are seasons where the second one improves significantly over the first. If you were to ask me, this is my prime example. It not only improved it, but it made it masterful. Rei Kiriyama is in his second year of high school as he continues his struggling path in the professional shogi world. More importantly, his personal life. However, the Kawamoto family come along to support him and develop an affectionate bond that resemble as a family. Slowly but surely, the life of misery will fade and the life of happiness will emerge. Season 1 has already explored the beginning and rising of Rei as he battles out the depressing world he has been living under for a long time. It introduced many characters such as Hinata, Akira, Momo, Harunobu, and many more. It showcased the struggles and conflicts Rei has faced and continues to face many new obstacles. By the end, he is still developing, but he has grown a lot. This season, however, goes further beyond scenarios, one in which is horrifyingly relatable. This season continues off where we last left off, and rather than re-exploring the similar scenarios, it goes even further in-depth look of its characters and introduce new problems. It doesn't rely on shogi and its dilemma. It relies on a real-life problem society continues to provide, no matter where and when. One of the most heart-pounding and aching subplot is the transition to the next grade. Bullying is among the factor, and this series doesn't hold back on struggle and solution. Plenty of series I know tend to solve quickly and normally, but this one goes far in depth. It challenged the audience on what could and should we do when, God forbid, happens to our child or someone's child. It is seriously gut-wrenching from start to finish. It's not the only drama to occur. There are other dilemmas that we have once experienced ourselves, including a fear of losing people we have grown attached. As for shogi, it is captivating as ever with its stunning visual portrayal of a character's emotions. The dialogues are deep and meaningful. It at times sends me shivers from the way they express through words and reactions. All of those scenarios can't be done without charming and realistic characters. Rei has struggled time after time in the first season, but he has gained a sense of happiness. This season more or less reversed the role and placed him as the supporter. This is what makes it very interesting. It's now his turn to exploit the lessons he has gone through in season 1 and translate it for season 2. It's worrisome since he is still new to it, but we have to hope for the best that he knows what to do to help and carry forward. Other characters get plenty of new set of developments. The biggest one, believe it or not, is Hinata. Let me tell you, before season 2, she was a sweet, charming, and fun character. Basically, she is good enough to be a fun character, and that's all. After this season, she is remarkable, not in the sense that she became a badass, rather how relatable and inspiring she is even better on how human she portrayed throughout her path. The same can be said for many other characters, with the depth and layers of their characters going further than we initially thought in season 1. The payoff is moving and inspiring. I think my eyes got watery at some moments. It's truly amazing. The presentation has gotten even better, while the visual style is still the same. The director has improved and nailed it. In the first season, one of the issues I had, even if it is nitpicking, is the style. Not exactly on the art, but rather the cinematography. It can't be overdoing on the cutesy, charming sound whenever the sound effect happens, even during a serious tone, or the head tilt angle shot. Here, the sound is done more appropriately, which doesn't devalue the tone and atmosphere. The head tilt angle shot now has meanings, leaving a stronger impact to their feelings and words. Now, the presentation is gorgeous. Much like Violet Evergarden, the animation reflects on the characters' depth from their movements, expressions, tones, and so on. It's not about the fast-paced action or how many cubicle bricks you can break. It's about bringing the meanings of the world and its people to life. The soundtrack is soothing. It makes you feel at ease. The voice work is very spot on with the delivery of these charming yet problematic characters. The reason why this is listed as number 2 isn't really because the next one is even better. In fact, both are amazing in their own rights, as well as other series that I listed here. The reason is due to this series considered as 2017 to many. Personally, if it continues to 2018, it should be considered as one as well. It's not easy to choose when a situation like this occurs. Therefore, I would place it as number 2. But really, it doesn't matter much. The point is, this series was excellent. It's a vast improvement over the first season. The characters and scenarios are even more in depth, that it can be hard for anyone to endure. Too close to reality. Watch this series as a whole. It may be cold and harsh, but there's always a light in the end of the tunnel. You have no idea how much this series meant to me. Let's go over the synopsis first. Mari Tamaki is afraid of taking a step beyond her possible limitation. However, she dreams of exploring the world beyond her wondrous expectation. More determined than ever, she wants to fulfill her wish, despite her fear overwhelms her. It is when she encounters Shirase, a girl who has collected money for her trip to Antarctica in order to search for her mother. The two meet and decide to work together, along with Hinata, who wants to explore the fun adventure, and Yozuki, who comes from a high-class family, to set sail beyond the universe. I know it's a list about anime, but I want to briefly share my story. A long time ago, I stopped watching anime because my interest died out when so many anime is filled with moe, cute girls doing cute things, and other things that appears too cutesy. I was a dumb boy. I returned a couple of years later, only to realize the stuff that made me quit remained. But I am not bothered by it anymore. As of now, I am more open to anything. That all said, it is series like this that goes beyond and more than meets the eye. To think, the familiar aspect that pushed me away ended up being one of my best series of 2018. Sounds like a movie plot, but I can assure you, this is my honest feeling. This series is like the pinnacle of hold my beer to slice of life with 4 girls involved genre. Granted, it's more of an adventure but it still holds the cake with the four girls journeying together. The set destination may not be interesting to some viewers, but is much larger than that. While Antarctica is the key setting, it's the girl's dream and ambitions that will sell you wholeheartedly. Not only you get some fun and interesting details on this climate and work acted like some form of educational programming, but it's the heart and soul of these explorations that don't just fascinate them, but develop them. These four characters have their own reasons to explore, and in each episode, it slowly develops them. Their purpose begins to tie in together as one, becoming the best of friends. It sounds simple, but the execution is superb. Saying it without giving it deeper context can't justify on how wonderful it exploits the deep friendship of these four. They help, laugh, cheer, and cry together, including learning new secrets among themselves. What's even better is despite the nature being like a usual tone, they come off more human. It amazes me how their personality are technically altered from your usual routine based on their look. For instance, Shirase could have been another girl who is tough and too determined on her own goal without being distracted with fun. However, there are moments that will catch you off guard with adorable yet laughable timing of his shifted tone. Basically, everyone is flawed and everyone balances it out. The interactions are some of the best I have watched. There are plenty of hilarious moments. One I really like is how they got lost in the direction and without changing the camera angle, you know they made a mistake again. Only now, one received a punishment. It's clever and funny. To complete a character, they are flawed with experiences they solely needed it. The amazing thing is once again the execution. There will be problems that you have witnessed elsewhere before, but it's because of the dynamic and the outcome that really stand out above the rest. One in which focused on redemption of old friends. I was amazed that it didn't go for the typical route that I came to expect. Instead, it ends with a more realistic solution. It's even better that these characters truly show development from previous episodes, including how they begin to talk differently, like they are genuinely comfortable, and interact like voice actors behind the door are really talking. This series is honestly my prime example that each episode gets better and better, except the final two. But my god, I won't talk about them. All I can say is, I cried. I don't care if you call me a wimp or anything, but it was the episode that consists one of the best moments of 2018. Forget it, it was the best moment. I could go on hours why that particular episode was masterful. Even some of the clips from YouTubers couldn't explain why. I found myself connected more with forums since they see a similar view as I did. Let me tell you, you are not overthinking on how it was delivered. It is designed to see why the impact is the heaviest of them all. The presentation is stellar. Madhouse and the staff are at their vintage stage with great lighting and wonderful scenery shots. It makes me want to journey outside of the state, right here, right now. The voice work is excellent, and coming from a concept with four girls doing fun things, that's saying a lot. The soundtrack is delightful. Everything about it is Madhouse at its best. I know it's up to the staff, but this anime was so good, I ended up buying nearly all of Asuko Ishizuka, the director's previous work, including No Game, No Life. I have no idea if it is good or not, but I don't care. Her work is magic. This anime is a serious gem. From characters to a great, meaningful, powerful moral, is no doubt that it is my best anime of 2018. It's more than meets the eye. It is stuff like this that I watch so many anime, not realizing what gem I will be missing out or slowly change into one. It was a really fun year, and I can expect 2019 will continue on. I'm sorry for taking it so long with this list. Next time, I may change this format, but for now, relax and watch some anime. If you like this and want to see more other content, subscribe to my channel and my world will be yours to stay. Until next time, take care.